Ever wondered what it's like to live on a tropical island? Today, I'm going to tell you. Welcome to Life in Flux. That's right, another week. This is me, Ron Segal, founder of Flux Academy, sharing with you what's up in life, in business, in raising a family. And today, what's up in living in Thailand. All right, so let's get right down to it. Some of you might know that about a year and a half ago, I moved with my family to Thailand, specifically to an island in the south of Thailand called Koh Phangan, which is very famous for its full moon parties and general its party scene. If you've happened to watch the White Lotus series, then it was featured in this kind of like full moon parties scene there. And today I want to share a little bit about what the experience has been to move here, to live here, how life here is. Because if you've ever been considering this remote lifestyle or relocation, or wondering if the cliche of living and working remotely on a tropical island, is this really all that people are hyping up to be? Is it really like the cliche? So let's break it down. So, first of all, I think a lot of people ask me when I meet people who don't know me and I tell them that I live in Thailand, they're like, "Why Thailand? Why do you live in Thailand?" So I think, of course, context matters. First of all, I'm originally Israeli, and so Thailand is very, very popular with Israelis, usually because they travel after military service, usually to cheap destinations where you can travel like for a long time on a cheap budget. And so Thailand is one of the popular destinations along with India and South America. And so there is a lot of people travel there when they're young. And so they get to love this place, and then they come back even when they're older. So that's in general why this becomes a very popular destination with Israelis. Now, I personally did not travel to Thailand after my military service. I traveled in South America for 6 months. But my wife, Noah, did travel to Thailand and got to love this place. And so actually the first time that I got to Thailand was when my first son, Tommy, was born. So that's like 11 years ago. That was actually my first time in Thailand. We went on vacation, actually here on this island with some friends, and basically kind of like fell in love with this island. Although, by the way, we came here for like a family, as a family with a baby. Definitely not came here for the party scene. So I wasn't even aware of the party scene and everything else that this island is actually famous for. I came here because everybody, it's very famous, this island, particularly with Israelis. And so a lot of people come here, and we got recommended, and we came here with friends, and we loved it. And so we started coming here. Here and in Thailand in generally, we've also been to other places in Thailand, but we started coming here almost every year, and this became kind of like one of our favorite places because, number one, we both love beach vacation. We can lay down the beach with a book and just enjoy, with drinks and stuff, kind of like laid back vacation. Thai food is my favorite food in the world. I actually think it's like one of the best kitchens out there. So diverse, got so many types of food in it. It's just like my favorite. It was always my like favorite food, and also just in generally the vibe in Thailand, very, very chill. There's the massage culture, and it's like so cheap and affordable here that you can get a massage all the time. And we love this stuff, so we started coming here almost every year, and so that's how we kind of like fell in love with this place. Noah, my wife, had a fantasy for a while to kind of like live outside of Israel and maybe relocate to Thailand. And it did come up in the past, like, hey, maybe we move there. We also were thinking, we had a point where we were kind of like thinking whether we should buy a house or not, and we weren't sure it's going to happen back in Israel. And we were like, okay, if we can't buy this house, maybe we move to Thailand or something like this. There was always kind of like a conversation, but honestly, Noah was more into moving. I was more into like, hey, but I like my life here in Israel. I'm with my family. I'm with my friends. I like my setup here. So I wasn't really keen on moving anywhere. She was more excited about it. Like conceptually, I like the idea of trying to live abroad for a while and give the kids kind of like an international exposure. I, by the way, lived for a little bit in Mexico when I was in doing my design internship. I lived in Mexico for 4 months, so I did had a little bit of the experience of what it's like to living abroad. But I wasn't that excited about doing it as a grown up. I mean, conceptually, I liked the idea, but also I really liked my setup in Israel, and I was always kind of like, hey, but what's really what you enjoy life makes life enjoyable is the people who are around you, like your community and friends and family. So I don't really want to leave that. But then we had kind of like the war, the October 7th war in 2023, and our family got hit very bad, and that was a trigger that kind of like Israel was a mess. There was a war. Like we were a mess as a family, and kind of like Noah really wanted to get away for a while. And then randomly, actually, I think it was 4 months after like the war started and our personal strategy that a couple of our friends told us that they were moving here. They're actually kind of like friends of friends, but they were mutual friends of ours. Like they weren't back at the time our best friends, but they were friends that we liked. And they were like, hey, you know what? We're moving. And they explained the logic, and they were like, we want to build a house there. It's quite affordable, and we're going to do this. And that really got Noah hooked because she had this fantasy and dream about building her own house. She also studied interior design, so she had this fantasy of building her dream house, and maybe in Thailand that's more affordable. So we were thinking about doing this, and basically the fact that they were moving and we could basically tag along with them made this very easy for us. So Noah got excited. She was like, hey, let's do this. I was initially reluctant. I was like, I'm not sure, but I'll do it for you or something, or for the family, because I know she was in pain. I knew she needed to get away from Israel and everything. So I was like, sure, let's do this. And I was, after a couple of weeks of readjusting to this idea, I was kind of like, okay, I'm on board. Let's do it. It's going to be an amazing experience. And as the month passed before us doing the move, I got really actually excited about the thought of, hey, let's do this. It's going to be an amazing family experience. So we did it, and we moved. And again, the context of why we moved to this particular island is, again, our friends wanted to move here, but also there is a very big community of Israelis living there. There's probably like a couple hundred families with kids in pretty much the same situation living on the island. And it's very important, kind of, or at least it makes it easy when you have kids. We have 2 kids. When we moved, they were like 7 and 9. And so it really makes things easy to relocate them. And back at the time, they didn't have like great English. They didn't have English at all. So just like moving to a completely different country, we thought that it's going to be easier for them if there's other community of other Israelis, and it's going to be easier to adapt. So we decided to make the move. Logistically, by the way, I'll just share that Thailand now has a visa. It was just launched when we were about to move, a visa for digital nomads, which is called DTV, which is pretty easy to get if you have your own business, or even if you're working in a company and that company basically allows you to work remotely. You can basically as long as you show them that you have work coming, either salaries or invoices, and you have some money in your bank account, you can basically get this visa, which is a 5-year visa. So it's kind of like a long-term tourist visa, right? You're still a tourist. You don't have like rights, but you can stay for a long time. You have to leave every 180 day, or you can even extend it to like stay a year every time, and then you have to get out of the country. But we leave, we fly multiple times a year. So for us, that's not like a big deal. So that made things pretty easy to move, right? You get this digital nomad visa because we have our businesses set up in Israel. We didn't need to change anything. We could just get the visa and then move. And so we did the transition. I want to say something about money and cost and something like this. Some people move to Thailand because they think it's cheaper. And in general, kind of like Southeast Asia, things are cheaper than in the West. And they definitely can be. But it really depends on where you live and what kind of a lifestyle you want to live. We did not move because we wanted to, you know, decrease our monthly spendings. We had other reasons to move. And so we're actually not spending less money. The fact that we're here. Also, specifically, this island, and we live again within this Israeli community, is there's kind of like a real estate bubble and a bubble in general, just because so many people want to come here and there's not enough houses and stuff like this. So things are actually pretty expensive. Like we pay around 3,000 US dollars for our house, which is a lot by any standard, right? And by the way, we live in an amazing like villa with a pool that's really amazing, with a garden in the jungle, like super, super nice. So you get a lot for this, but it is expensive. So in that sense, again, we came from a super expensive city, Tel Aviv, which is one of the most expensive cities in the world. And we're still paying almost the same in Thailand, which is basically like supposed to be a super cheap place. But I guess it really depends on how you live. So we're not like spending significantly less. You can, of course, you can live in a super, super cheap, I guess, Thai house. And that's kind of like a wooden house, doesn't necessarily have air conditioning or stuff like this. And again, we're in a tropical place, so depending on the lifestyle you want to live, it might be like harder. But anyway, so yeah, my point was it's not necessarily cheaper to live where we are living. Again, because this is a place that has like super high demand, right? It doesn't represent the rest of Thailand or the rest of, if you want to move to, I guess, reduce your living expenses or something like this. It can be. But again, for us, it was more important to live within a community, and we're living in this community. In general, this island that we live in is a very weird place. It's not like, it doesn't represent Thailand. In general, it's a very, very small island, not super developed, as in it doesn't have tons of things. It doesn't have like lots of cars. There's no traffic jam. There's no mall. There's no even like there's not a lot of things, right? There's no airport. There's nothing. We have to fly to a different island and take a ferry to get here. So, and it's very, very touristy in a sense that there's not many Thai locals here. There's lots of tourists who are coming here either to party or for vacation. In terms of people who live here, there's a big community of Israelis. There's a big communities of Russians. And like both of them kind of like migrated perhaps because of the war in their countries. And there's a big community of Burmese people. So Burma or Myanmar is like the neighboring country to Thailand. They have a civil war as well. So there are a lot of refugees there. And the Burmese people are basically kind of like I guess you can say the foreign workers in Thailand. So they do all of the cheap labor stuff that Thai people don't want to do. So in a sense, this island is like, doesn't have many Thais in it because most of them kind of like sold maybe their lands and then use this money to buy maybe property in Bangkok or send their kids to university in Bangkok. And so now this island is mostly like immigrants or, you know, Burmese people. So even if you go to a restaurant, like the waiters and stuff like this, most of the times they're not even Thai, which is kind of weird because I'm trying to learn Thai right now. And there's not many people that I can practice with because, again, I don't have contact with many Thai people, which is weird. Because most of my contacts are either, you know, Israelis or elsewhere or Burmese people. There are some Thai people managing some of the businesses, but not that many. So it's kind of like a weird place. It doesn't represent Thailand that much. But again, it's still, yeah, it's a weird place. And to again describe the vibe of the place that we're living in, which again does not represent all of Thailand. This is a very specific place. So as I said, this island became popular in the 80s where people came here to party, like with the full moon parties. So that's kind of like the kind of people who either are still coming here or are kind of like hippies or kind of like, I don't know how you call these techno peoples that came, to party from Germany in the 80s and just got stuck here. And like the most popular shops on the island are either tattoo places or weed places. So this is kind of like place for hippies that are yeah, and now, but what used to be only like parties and drugs and now is migrating to the other side, which is kind of like meditation, retreats, yoga. So either people are partying and doing drugs, or people want to be super super healthy, meditate, do yoga, do retreats, do all the kind of organic stuff like this. So these are kind of like the bandwidth of the people here. Lots of retreats, lots of personal growth retreats, that kind of stuff. And the type of people that are here, it also kind of like defines the type of stuff that's on the island. Because, for example, there is nothing high end here. Meaning, if you go to Bangkok, you can have like Michelin star restaurants. You can see whatever Lamborghinis on the streets, like people dressed nicely with like top fashion. Here, there's nothing. Like basically, everybody drives the same car, like the same Ford. Everybody wears like flip flops and t-shirt. That's it. And there's no high end restaurants. There's no high end anything. And so the good thing is that you're not in competition with anybody. You don't have to show, you know, I guess when you're living in a big city or something like this, there's always kind of like a status game of like who's got the better car, who's dressed up more nicely, who's, uh, you have all of these things, even if it's under the surface. You always have this kind of like people judge you by the type of stuff that you own. But here, everybody pretty much has the same things. Of course, there's a gap between the foreigners, how the foreigners live, with a pool villa versus across the street there's a Burmese living in a small hut. So obviously there's a very big gap here. But what I'm saying is that even between kind of like between the foreigners, there's not much different. I mean, there can be like a tech millionaire across the street, but he looks exactly like you. He lives in the same house like you. He has the same car like you. So everybody is kind of like, it's very chill. And that's really nice because it makes you much more relaxed, I guess. I noticed that when I went to Bangkok and started seeing all of these expensive things, I was like, oh my God, oh, I need to make so much money so I can afford this and this and that. And I realized that I haven't felt that way in a long time because back in the island, like I don't think about this. I don't have to be in a competition with anybody, which is super, super chill. Now there's the flip side of this, which is everything is very chill. You're not hard motivated to work very hard. So again, I'm coming from Tel Aviv. Tel Aviv is like startup city, is like so expensive. Everybody has to hustle so hard. Like everybody has like, I have to make so much money because rent is so expensive. Everything is so expensive. I have to make money, so I'm going to work super hard to get money. That's like everybody is like this. You look at the street, everybody is running, everybody is stressed, everybody needs money. On the other side, if everybody here is chilling, and again, most of the people around you are tourists who came here to just either party or chill and drink cocktails all day long and walk around in, bathing suits, that that doesn't drive you to work very hard. So that's kind of like the flip side of if you come here, and I come here as a business owner, it's hard to drive yourself into working very, very hard where everybody else around you is kind of like chilling and having the best time and partying every day. And there's a party here every single day. If you want to party, you can party here every single day. And some people are. So it's I am kind of like a weird person here because I came here and on my second day on the island, I rented an office and I actually go to the office every single day. Like in the morning, I do my hours in because I have this routine of I go to work and I come back. But I am super, super weird on this island where people are just like chilling. They wake up, they go to the gym in the morning, they would go drink shake in the beach, and then they would go to get a massage, and then they would party at night, and then, they would wake up late the next day. And that's kind of like how people actually live their life here. Um, which is, again, it's difficult to drive yourself to work very hard. This is, by the way, part of the reason that now I have a new partner. Um, he's in Serbia, he's young, he's motivated, he's driven, and we work together. And that's really helpful for me to have somebody with a drive push me to work hard, because the surrounding here is kind of like pushing me to relax, chill, take it easy, coast a little bit. So it's really important, again, if I want to be successful in my business, which I do, it's important to make sure that the people around you have this energy and drive. So, is it amazing to live here? Yeah, for me, again, if you love all the things that I've described, which is going to the beach, like again, there's a sunset culture here. Everybody goes to watch the sunset at like 6:30. Everybody's at the beach, just watching the sunset. That's the thing. If there's a day where I live work after the sunset, I'm like, oh my God, I missed it, right? So if you like this kind of thing, this is amazing. It's really amazing. I'm like so grateful. I walk to the beach every single day. Like in the morning, I wake up 6 a.m. I go 15 minutes. I'm in the beach to watch the sunset. So most days I watch the sunset, the sunrise and the sunset on the same beach on the same day, and it's amazing. And again, I love the food. So for me personally, it is amazing. There are a few drawbacks. One of them I've mentioned, kind of like about the chill culture, which is not conducive to working very hard. One of the other challenges that we have here, which is also based on the fact that there's not a lot of people here with lots of money who want to spend money, is this situation for kids' education, which is the education opportunities, like in terms of private schools and stuff like this, international schools. There's very limited choices here, which almost made us actually leave this year, because the school actually is not really great. It's not that great to the point where my kids are so bored that, we decided this year that they're not going to go to school on Friday, and I'm going to homeschool them just to make sure that something challenges them and pushes them, because the school is just like so not challenging them. Which is another thing. Right now I have to spend time educating my kids, which is great and fun, and I enjoy that, and I see it as kind of like a luxury to be able to teach my kids. But also, it's like a cost. I have to invest time in this versus other things, because there's not enough good schooling opportunities here. This year, right now, they're working on, for the next year, there's a new school that looks promising that's opening up, and so we enrolled our kids there. So I hope the situation is going to improve next year. But anyway, I think in general, I love it here, and it's perfect for me right now, but it's kind of like not a place where this specific island, you can't stay here for that long, mainly because of the kids' education. My older son is now 11. He's going to be 12 next year. And as he becomes a teenager, I think that's going to be problematic to stay here just because it's so close. It's difficult for him to, get around, or there's limited opportunities and stuff like that for teenagers. So I think there's a limit on the time, on how long we can stay on this island particularly. Maybe then we'll move to somewhere else in Thailand. I don't know, because again, we really like Thailand. But yeah, so schooling is one thing that's challenging. What else did I want to say that's challenging? Time zone can be challenging, especially if you work with the US. I almost cannot do calls because there's almost like a 12 hours gap, at least with the West Coast. So if I have to talk to somebody, and a lot of opportunities, obviously, for me as well, are in the US, and it's just so difficult. Like somebody in San Francisco, there's a 12 hours difference. That means that even if I wake up 6 in the morning, it's already 6 p.m. over there. And so it's like they're done. And if I want to, so I either have to talk to them at my 9 p.m., 10 p.m., that would be their 9 a.m. in the morning. And I'm not a night person. So right now I do have to make some calls at night, which I don't enjoy. And long term, I wouldn't want to keep on doing that. So that's another drawback for me for living here is kind of like time zone. Most of my team is in Europe, so that's okay. I can have calls with them in the afternoon, but with the US, it's actually tougher. So that's another kind of like drawback. What else? I think that's it. I think that's it. I think I shared what I wanted to share on this topic of living in Thailand. To sum it up, I love it here right now. For me, it's perfect. It is kind of like the cliche. I'm so grateful. I feel like it's an amazing thing to be able to live here right now in this like beautiful, beautiful paradise. Be in nature, have the kids in nature, spend a lot of time with the family, with the kids, have a great community of friends here. That we do share a culture, so I'm not feeling like completely isolated. It's kind of like I joke that this is like the best neighborhood in Israel. Still feel like I have the Israeli community, but I'm in like the best neighborhood ever. Um, so that's it. That's my report on living in Thailand. And yeah, I hope you found it at least entertaining or something like this. That's it for today. I will see you next week. Have a fantastic week.